A lot of the time I will spend quite a lot of time with the writer, so I'm really beginning to live and breathe it. Once it's down, that's my blueprint. That's the blueprint for the building I'm going to build, and I stick with it, and I trust what went into the document. A lot of people don't. They get in, they lose confidence, and suddenly you're in disarray and you're suddenly rewriting things like that. I do not like to do that. Steve does write long, so a lot of the times I know the scene's going to come down, and you do that. I'd rather have it long and then find a way of trimming it back in the editing room, because you can, particularly the way editing has become nowadays, that editing has transformed itself into really inventive and evolved communicative patterns, where you don't have to have a person stand up, walk across the room, put their hand on the door, open the door and walk out. That doesn't happen anymore. I could cut right in the middle of our sentence and jump in the sentence to the end. So that evolution has occurred, which is good, because it then means you're less agonizing about continuity. You know, if you were 20 years ago, it's a different way of thinking. I think commercials did that. Rock videos did that. They adjusted the process in the way we edit films. I have to do all my own location hunting with the art production designer, and see everything, because what I'm doing, by doing that, I'm re-educating myself. It's all an educational process leading to the time when I'll shoot. Once I shoot, I'm very fast. It's like 2-take Charlie, and we're in and out, and we go quickly. Fundamentally, I always choose my locations. Then long discussions with me and Arthur. Arthur Max says no. I always work with Arthur. No, really. Then once I've done that, then I can turn him loose, and he goes, and he'll only email in saying, "I've got this. What do you want? You want that or that?" And I'll choose immediately which one. Speed, speed, speed. It's all about speed. He needs fast decisions at this juncture, you see. It's all about making decisions. I think it's experience. I'm so precise. I can almost verbalize exactly what it should be before. So it narrows it down. As having immense number of variations, it's narrowed down to 2 or 3 immediately. I like working always with a minimum of 3 cameras anyway. So those 50 setups might only be 25 setups, except I'm covering within the setup. So you're finished. I mean, if you take a little bit more time to prep on 3 cameras, or if it's a big stunt, 11 cameras. You know, Black Hawk Down was 11 cameras. And whilst it may take 45 minutes to set up, and then when you're ready, you say action, and you do 3 takes, 2 takes, and is everybody happy? And say, yeah, that's it. So you move on. As opposed to spending 4 hours doing what was happening in all that 45 minutes. The best thing to do is not think about it. The best thing to do is just begin. Take each day at a time, day by day. And gradually you're getting through it and you think, damn, we did 50 setups today, you know. What I do with my eye, which still keeps going, is not really discussable or describable, because half the time I'm not sure what I'll do yet until I actually get there. But once I get there, once I've seen all the locations and smelt all the wardrobe and smelt the paint inside the rooms and cast the people, so I can literally, I've got the universe in my head. Even as I'm driving in that morning, I'm knowing exactly what I'm going to do. Right through the whole thing. The whole organic structure of the scene will be all laid out in my head. And that's how it works. I would always arrive knowing exactly what I wanted to do. So I'd say, I thought this. Silence. Okay. You want to walk it? Why not? Walk it. We walk it. I say, you want to shoot it? They say, okay. So now we're going to shoot it. That's it. And so it defies all logic about film schools and acting schools and all that stuff. What is relevant is what you're carrying with you, which is your experience. Your experience will give you that probable confidence to push something, say it this way, that way, or recognize it when it's happening and then agree. Yeah, I mean, I think that I always get the impression sometimes, Tony and I, because we are so, close to the way we wanted the film to look, that we are constantly with our eyes to the viewfinder, maybe more than the other kinds of directors. And sometimes I think it does put people off. I don't know who, but cameramen who are very serious cameramen and take themselves very seriously might not want to work with us because we get our eyes to the viewfinder. I was an operator for my first film. I mean, I operated all my commercials. Because of that knowledge, you're constantly, in a good way, challenging a top cameraman who actually normally doesn't have to worry about that, or he quietly works it out for himself. And either they like that competition or not. That's what I do. That's my job. That's my job. No one is allowed to sleep. Things are dictated by the material. When I was going to do Alien, I decided there's no cameras ever going to go on a track, except the end when I couldn't hold it that long. I had to put it on the tracks, go down the corridor backwards when she was charging around for 17 minutes in the film. But everything was handheld, which was really exhausting. But by being handheld, even the dialogue scenes were handheld, because the handheld camera is always breathing a little bit, it's always moving. So there's a psychological unease to that. So it was useful for Alien. In this, I want this to have a funny sense of, in the looser sense of the word documentary, docudrama, which means you're reaching for the truth. I learned about music, which I hadn't really paid much attention to, other than cursory view on doing television commercials years ago, when by the time I did The Duelist, I must have done 2,000 commercials. And they were always musically driven, but I hadn't really thought carefully about it. And the first guy was a sound editor on Duelist, was Terry Rawlins. And Rawlins was an absolute master of music, and said, look, and in those days you'd have a disc, a vinyl. He said, watch, and you do a needle drop on a sequence, and watch, I thought we'd come in here. And you'd see this passion for music in relation to the image. And off that experience, I gave him Alien to cut. That was his first film, cutting. Because I couldn't work out why an editor wasn't also in charge of the music. What I've learned to do is trust my intuition. There's a voice. And I think it's, again, under the big E word, experience. Eventually you learn to trust your intuition. And you may have good intuition, you may have bad intuition. If you have bad intuition, then I wouldn't trust it. But I think I've got good intuition, and time and again, I've found it proved that I should have gone with what I felt. And that was some time ago, and now I think, that's why I think I'm able to work so fast. I look at the locations and go, that's it. And they say, but there's 6 to see. I said, that's it. We're going to shoot here. Let's jump the gun and go to the next block of locations which have nothing to do. We have this place. In other words, I'll make a decision on the spot. I won't say, well, I want to see everything. That's intuition. And they're all aligning so that they fit within the mosaic of the fact you're doing a period film, which is set in the early 70s, because I was there. But at the same time, I don't know what Jerusalem was like when it was destroyed, but that's intuitive as well, because you look at lots of reference and paintings and engravings of the period, and you put all that together into one big melting pot, which is your intuition. And you say, I imagine this is what it would be like on that morning. People don't understand sometimes what I mean when I say it's the difference between a movie and a film. I think a movie is an Americanism, but a movie tends to be a good description of what we see in cinemas today. Mostly is ephemeral. Ephemeral means pulp, right? Like in Pulp Fiction, it means it's discardable. Movies tend to be discardable. You see it, you walk out, you forget about it, you never even think about it again. A film, you see it, you walk out, you're still thinking about it. And then the next day, you're still thinking about it. And next year, maybe you're still thinking about it. So occasionally, you'll have on your shelf a film, which is now, thank God, in a small box called a DVD. You can go back and revisit it like a good book. How many of those have you got? Not many. And that's what one tries to do. One tries to make films as opposed to movies.